From being the first female chief in Malawi to ending 4,000 child marriages in the past decade, this tribal chief is a force to be reckoned with. Hello and welcome back to another episode of HerStory, Unforgettable Women. In today's video, we talk about Theresa Kachindamoto, who's played a key role in combating child marriages since taking office, in a country where 1 in 2 girls is married before turning 18. Let's dive right in. Early life. Born in 1959 in Dedza on Lake Malawi, Theresa Kachindamoto is the youngest of a family of district traditional rulers' 12 children. She spent 27 years as a secretary at a college in southern Malawi's Zomba district. Then, in 2003, she was chosen by the chiefs of the Dedza district, which has over 900,000 residents, to be the district's next senior chief. A breakthrough to be the one stepping into a role held only by men in the past. Justino Kachindamoto VI held the position from 1988 to 2001, and Sunduzeni's regency from 2001 to 2003. Theresa succeeded him as Kachindamoto VII, the Inkosi of the Chidyaonga line of the Maseko or Gomani dynasty. After deciding to take the job, she returned to Monkey Bay and put on the customary red robes, beads, and leopard skin headpiece. And just like that, she ushered in a new age for the women of Malawi. Fight against child marriage. The 64-year-old chief of Malawi, an impoverished landlocked nation of 18 million people in Southeast Africa, has been waging a no-tolerance war against the widespread practice of child marriage. As a powerful female member of tribal royalty, she is succeeding, despite challenges like death threats from staunch traditionalists. You see, only 45% of girls in Malawi continue their education past the 8th grade. The realization of a child's rights, including their right to quality education and sexual and reproductive health, is severely hampered by child marriage. Girls who drop out of school hardly have any options, leaving them vulnerable to many forms of gender-based violence. When Chief Theresa arrived back in her community after taking on the role, she was horrified to see a young mother who had been pushed into marriage at the age of 13. The moment she realized this was commonplace, she decided to make ending child marriage her life's work. It took a few years, but a law prohibiting marriage before the age of 18 was implemented by Malawi, all thanks to her efforts. Chief Kachindamoto assisted in the approval of a constitutional change that raised the legal age of marriage from 15 to 18 years old in February 2017 by working with UN Women, the government, civil society, and traditional leaders. But the fight was far from over. Traditional communities continued to let minors marry with only their parents' permission. Since taking office, the chief has overseen numerous child divorces in Malawi's central area and helped girls in finishing their education, often by subsidizing their education. Oh, and because of this, she's known as the Terminator of child marriages. Deeper issues. When she came into power, she knew there was a bigger issue at hand because the practice was embedded into their culture. Camps for sexual initiation were one such issue. In these settings, young women were taught how to satisfy men sexually and are made aware of their duties as wives. The custom is known as kukasa fumbi, which essentially means sexual purification. Either the girls have relationships with their instructors to complete the program, or they return home virgins. And what's worse? Their parents make them lose their virginity to local guys if they return home virgins. This way, these girls are more vulnerable to unintended pregnancies and the transmission of HIV. These rites of passage, which hardly ever entail the use of condoms, in a nation where 1 in 10 people have HIV, can condemn girls to a lifetime of trauma and early death. Kachindamoto was shocked to see that girls as young as 7 were being brought to these locations, and she worked swiftly to ban these kinds of purification practices. Traditional and economic factors are frequently identified as causes of early child marriage. Many families actually pressure their daughters into marriage because they are unable to meet their basic requirements and hope that a future spouse will provide for them. But sadly, many girls suffer abuse after they get married, and those who become pregnant experience problems during pregnancy or while giving birth, leading to early fatalities that account for 20 to 30% of maternal mortality in the nation. Seeing all this, Theresa developed and signed a contract for her area to stop child marriage and sexual initiation camps as part of her advocacy for Malawian children. She reached this conclusion after speaking with 50 sub-chiefs who strongly objected to it. But the Iron Lady firmly stood her ground that these girls would go back to school, and the other tribe members gradually began to abide by the newly established law. Empowering women. Putting an end to child marriage isn't the only way the female chief pushes for women's empowerment. She helped create an organization that seeks out child marriage victims, known as the Mpapa Mothers Group. Members knock on doors in an effort to find girls who have dropped out of school because of an early marriage and try to get them back in. The Mpapa Mothers Group is trained by the Joint Program on Girls' Education, and the organization is also supported by the UN Agency for Sexual and Reproductive Health. By guiding teenagers on matters related to pregnancy, marriage, and their rights as women, the organization encourages the completion of school education. The next most important step is to encourage the girls to make wise decisions, especially when they opt to return to school. They often have to live alone and are unsupported by relatives if they take this route. But there are more and more girls who are willing to resume their education despite the hostility of many members of the community. And for these reasons, Kachindamoto joined hands with local organizations to build hostels for girls who travel far from their home to attend school, making moves. Many parents did not even want to hear the chief's views for them to keep their daughters in school, or her promises that a girl's education would increase their wealth. The typical argument was that she didn't have the authority to break with tradition or to advise others on how to raise females, as she was the mother of 5 boys. So, Kachindamoto changed the law instead of trying to change the way parents think, because she realized she couldn't. She persuaded her sub-chiefs to sign a document outlawing early marriage in accordance with customary law and nullifying any existing nuptials within her sphere of influence. In fact, she sacked 4 male chiefs who were in charge of these regions after learning underage weddings were still going on in some locations. Months later, they came back to inform her that all marriages had been terminated. She sent individuals to confirm this, at which point she rehired the chiefs. She then rallied the neighborhood's residents, the church, neighborhood groups, and nonprofit organizations to pass a bylaw outlawing early marriage under civil law. The UN and other external organizations share the chief's belief that keeping girls in school is the single most crucial component in ending the cycle of rural poverty and preventing problems for women throughout their lives. According to the research, educating women has a multiplier effect, improving not only the health and wealth of women, but also the lives of their children and entire communities. Conclusion: Kachindamoto sees the girls of Dedza as Malawian women who can now decide their own futures. If investing in girls is necessary for progress, and if women are the key to the future, then the path to gender equality begins in a small Malawian district where girls are regaining their education, their childhood, and their independence. All thanks to one iconic woman who promises to be chief until she dies. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more exciting HerStory content just like this.